The following podcast contains opinions from paid professionals. The information provided in this podcast is general in nature and not advice. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
So we think final episode for the season, for the spring, and we get to review a magical, marvellous Melbourne Cup day.
Peachy weather.
Oh, wasn't it divine?
Magnificent crowd, Derby through to Cup.
Uh-huh.
I reckon the post-COVID lull is now gone.
Yeah.
And everyone's starting to get back to, just the line and length events that they've always loved, and Cup Day was certainly that. We got the fairy tale story. We got the nightmare day on the punt for the vast majority. And we got the miraculous mystery first fours and mystery trifectas and $3 million wins and $740,000 trifecta and first four stories that I guess we kind of hope and dream about every year. And again, I wasn't a part of it, Em.
No, neither was I. Shocking day on the punt, but great day out there at Flemington.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it and enjoyed the theatre of the Cup once again, watching them come down the straight for the first time, go by the post, all the way around the clock tower, and then as things unfolded in the straight, it was there was a few there that I thought Zardozi was home.
Yeah.
And, she just faded the last 50 or so, but marvellous ride by Robbie Dolan to be patient, to be close enough to all the action. I think that was the end. We'll talk about Robbie and Knight's Choice a little bit more because Robbie's going to join us in just a little moment. But the internationals, I want to just touch on the internationals
Horses
for a bit.
or jockeys?
More horses.
Yeah.
We do it every year. We are falling for these international spells each and every year. And particularly in the last little while, they have really come off. I mean, Warp Speed, yes, was beaten half a nose, but we've all fell into the Vauban trap yet again. 27-degree day, and he was a mess in the yard. I mean, you like to believe trainers that they'll be able to turn it around with doing different things, but yeah, I think we've just learnt that he doesn't handle the warm weather of Melbourne and the occasion of Melbourne either, to be honest.
No, and I think the occasion seems to be getting the better of a few of the international and local jockeys as well. There's been a lot of criticism about the ride on Buckaroo and how far they got back. There was zero positivity early there. Maybe there wasn't an opportunity, but certainly that's a lot further back than the owners anticipated. There was some that just never, ever featured in the race. They either had to go back from wide gates or they got crossed early and they never featured.
Yeah.
You might as well have not called them. That said, another brilliant call by Matt Hill.
Yeah,
I agree
sure.
with Zardozi. I think she was by accident probably just a pair or two a little bit close to the speed. I think track-wise some jockeys had made up their minds that you had to be sort of 3 to 4 horse widths off the fence.
Rails off, yeah.
You couldn't be further out than 4.
Yeah.
Seemed to be their thought. Whether that was the case or not, that's how the race pattern went. And Warp Speed was fantastic. And, yeah, a winner I didn't see coming, and everyone's talking up the merit of the last start performance, and they didn't have much luck, and that is true. But the form prior, albeit on heavy tracks, was very average, and credit to them.
Yeah.
They got their horse right on the day, and that's all you have to do.
And the other thing, just on the international jockeys front, we love welcoming them to Flemington, but it is always a big risk of welcoming them to that track for the first time, if not maybe second or third time, because that straight is deceptively long. And whether you run too soon or too late, it can make all the difference in the world when it comes to a 3,200-metre event. So
It can, but the winning jockey, well, I actually had a look and it said he'd never been to Flemington, but then interviewing him straight after the race, he said that it was the second time he'd been there, having ridden with Profondo earlier on. He said he hardly saw any of it. They ran 13th and everything went terribly. So he wasn't that experienced at Flemington.
no,
and
you're right.
got the timing spot on.
Yeah.
Karen probably didn't have a stack of luck with
No.
Absurd. Zardozi popped at the wrong time for them. I don't think they win anyway. Maybe Absurd runs, a length or
Third.
two in for third.
Yeah.
And the Japanese horse and Robbie, they were kind of going for the same run. I don't think it quite made a difference because they both got the split, but definitely Robbie had the clear air in front when maybe the Japanese horse just had to shift in a touch.
Riding honours for the day with Robbie Dolan, but then good to see Ben Mellon with a double on Cup Day, which was really, really good. We'll get to that in just a
We'll
little
get to Benny
second.
Mellon shortly, yeah.
And James McDonald with a double as well. But let's welcome in a very special guest. This is a great treat. One of the great stories of the week, one of the great stories of the year, I reckon. It is just a pleasure to welcome a friend of both of ours and now Melbourne Cup winning jockey, Robbie Dolan, to the podcast. Welcome, mate. And we're so pumped for you and we're so excited for you and everything that not only today holds, but what yesterday held and what the future does as well.
Yeah, thanks very much. Sounds good, doesn't it? Melbourne Cup winning jockey.
I don't think it'll ever grow old, mate. I tell you what does grow old is a hangover. How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel a bit rough, actually. I felt all right earlier on, doing all the interviews and stuff. But it's starting to catch up on me now.
Hey, we've got a gift. And you got your Melbourne Cup yesterday, and that was obviously the gift of a lifetime. I'm sure you got in bottles of champagne, maybe some Irish whiskey, God knows what, but we will send this to you this week. Can you see that? We have gotten the front page of The Age framed for you, showing this, I think, one of the most iconic moments in sport of 2024. Arms out, looking up above, going, yes.
It's an elite. It is an elite photo, mate. As soon as I saw the front page, it's just so good.
It's all framed, ready for home, so you and the girls can enjoy it for many years to come.
Yeah. Oh, that's unbelievable. Thank you.
And you're also there with Kamala and Trump.
Yeah, on a very historic day.
You share the front
I reckon
page.
if I ran for election now, I might win. You know that?
Hey, you're flying that well at the moment. Hey, take us through yesterday morning and what happened before you jumped on board Knight's Choice. What was your thought process? Did you think you could win it?
Yeah, I was actually in the zone, to be honest. I was confident the horse would run really well. Didn't know if he could win. Like, you really never know in them sort of races, but you're very optimistic or else you wouldn't be there. The key to him is a dry track. And he's run last week at Bendigo. I'm telling you now, like, people are probably going back to watch it over again. But it was a cheeky run that people didn't even realise because they were too busy watching the winner that won by 5 lengths. I pretty much got held up on him from the bottom of the straight. Had to sort of weave a passage, didn't have a lot of room, but through the line was very good and on a dry track, and that was just really confirming me that he'd stay 2 mile all day on a dry track.
And it was a remarkable situation that even led to you having an association with this stable and this horse, because it was essentially your singing career that led you to your Melbourne Cup winner on was it a cruise ship?
Yeah, that's right. That's funny now that you say that. It actually, if it wasn't a singer, I probably wouldn't win the Melbourne Cup. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, that's right. I met Sheila on the P&O cruise. Shout out to P&O. Give me a free cruise, please.
I think there's a Disney one going around soon. That'd be good for you and the girls.
Mate, Melbourne Cup winner now. He gets free cruises everywhere he goes. Yeah.
Anyway, I met her on the Melbourne Cup cruise like 2 years ago, and she basically had the Melbourne Cup, and I was singing, and I met her and took a photo with the cup, and we done a few interviews and stuff together, and then and we won a Melbourne Cup. Crazy. I'm at Macedon Lodge here.
Are you in a stable?
I am at the stables. Yeah.
Are you sitting in a box at the moment with some shavings underneath you or something? Oh, it's an amazing property.
This is some spot.
Well, I'll tell you what,
isn't
it's had many a Melbourne Cup winner come through at Macedon Lodge, and maybe that was the magic element to it because, yeah, as you said, that Bendigo Cup run had a bit of merit, but this horse was at the price that the market had it for a reason. The runs prior to that were a little quiet, but clearly, as you said, it was all that track condition. Tell me at which point in the race you thought, I got a handle on this now, and I think I'm about to win my first Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, probably. I'd say at the 300, I was thinking I'm actually going pretty well here, and these horses around me are dropping off pretty quick. So probably at that stage, sorry, Maisie's going mad over
I can hear her.
I can hear her.
Is she all right?
It's grand. She's just tired and fed up.
Yeah, she would be.
She kind of wishes I didn't win the Melbourne Cup now.
Yeah, Dad's total rock star now. No, that's all right. Kids
It
do that.
might help her future just quietly. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So at the
100%.
300, you thought, okay, I've just got to have the gaps open up for me at the right spots here because I don't want to go around any more horses. And the overhead kind of showed that it was like the seas parting at the exact right time.
Yeah, I think three of you kind of made the run. I mean, we were lucky enough to sit there and watch a replay last night, Robbie, but at the casino. But three of them made their run at the same time. So you had Karen making the run on Absurd. You had the Japanese horse Warp Speed to your outside. And you were always going to get the pick of the gap because it did open up directly in front of you. But when you went past Zardozi, is that when you went, right, this is now in the bag?
Yeah, pretty much. I thought the Godolphin horse was going to win and I was going to run top 5. And then I pulled my stick through to the left hand and he just exploded away. And then I could hear the Japanese raider coming and I was confident I won. But then through the line, he asked me, he's like, did I win? And I was just like, oh, no, I lost. Because normally when that happens, you don't win. But we got the job done.
You did. Hey, I just wanted to quickly touch on the offer that the stable got for this horse because it was really criticised at the time that there'd been a big money offer from overseas and they said, no, we want to stick with this horse. And maybe the performances recently have maligned what is a ridiculous record. I mean, they have had a lot of fun and now that's justification for that decision, isn't it, this Melbourne Cup?
Absolutely. And look, the owner explained to me last night, he's like, yeah, they turned down the money, but they don't regret it. This is even before the Melbourne Cup. They don't regret it because the amount of good days they've had, obviously a couple of wins they had with him, and then they had a great day out at the Golden Eagle that day. He didn't run very well, but great day out in the Golden Eagle. Then he's running a Caulfield Cup. They all went to the Bendigo Cup, Melbourne Cup, like that. You can't buy that stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's. Well, you can if you got a lot of money, but
there's only
but you know what I mean. Like you can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to have a Melbourne Cup runner this year." It just doesn't work like that.
No.
I think there's only 3 of them in it.
Yeah.
So it also makes it an easier decision there. You know, if
there's 30, it's like, oh God, that's hard work.
It makes it a little bit tough
There's
because
3.
a lot of them need the money. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Last night, who was the most famous person who sent you a message or gave you a call?
Probably you, actually.
No, I popped into the bar and I went and said hi and said congrats. And we sat around for a while eating popcorn and having a couple of waters at that stage, actually. Genuinely, who did you get any really cool messages?
I had a lot of random people message me. Probably. Like I had like Tom Magner send a lovely message to me and you know, like I'm just trying to think.
No, that's cool though.
Actually, I haven't really went through all of my messages because if I did, it would have taken me 4 hours. I can't even believe the amount of messages that I'm after receiving, like in the hundreds, probably in the thousands actually. I haven't really went through. So there could be like, I don't know, Katy Perry or something could be in there, but I don't know.
100%.
I haven't even looked.
I mean, you're a music fan. You never know. Like, obviously, you got to sing with Ronan Keating today. Some of your big, Irish heroes, singing-wise, might have. I mean, Bono loves the Melbourne Cup. He really does. You never know.
Well, he would have watched it and he would have been gone, yeah. The Irish lad.
Let's hope.
On the Irish lad aspect to it, so Ireland was expected to fare well in the Melbourne Cup, but not many anticipated that would be through you winning it. Have you heard much of the response from Ireland? Because we all know from everyone that travels over and from the stories you guys tell that country absolutely loves the Melbourne Cup and the history of it.
Yeah, it's pretty big over there. It's you know, like I've had my sisters on the radio and stuff in Ireland, our local town, and neighbors knocking on the door and little things like that. You know, that means a lot. I think it's the little things like that. It's pretty cool. You know, somebody said to me that I'm only the second Irish jockey ever to win it behind Mick Kinane. So if that's a true fact, that's pretty crazy.
What about having your dad there yesterday? That was a bit of a surprise. He flew in on the weekend, courtesy of your lovely fiance.
Yeah, crazy. He just, like, it's probably the best trip to Australia of all time. He just flew in, went to the Melbourne Cup. Actually, he flew in. We went to watch Cam Smith play golf Then he went to the Melbourne Cup. We won the Melbourne Cup. Had a big session, and now he's flying home tonight.
Did you put him up the front of the plane this time?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think he's in the back, but he'll
what are
probably
you
sleep
doing?
the whole way.
Let's face it, a seat at the
Hey, I don't get that Melbourne Cup money for a month, you know.
Put it on credit.
a seat at the front would be wasted. He's not going to wake up
In no man's
for
land.
more
He'll
than
be asleep.
a
whole
second
way.
of that.
That is an elite trip, isn't it?
Oh man, we were so happy for you. And feel free to say to me, I'd prefer not to talk about it. But as I understand it, you and your partner had a really tough time with Maisie. Like things were pretty dire early, and she managed to pull through. Beautiful little kid, and you guys are a lovely, happy family now. But do you reflect at all on those really difficult months that you guys had as a family, and just say, look at where we are now? That picture of you guys wheeling around the suitcase out of Flemington yesterday
It's a great
probably
photo.
my favourite
Pretty
photo.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. You know, like she was in the hospital for over 100 days.
Mm.
So yeah, it's mad. It's like something you don't really think about. Like when we went in there, like I wouldn't have heard of a NICU. You know what I mean? But you go in and there's just like 50 babies in there, and they're all like in the incubators and stuff, and the nurses are working 24/7. And you know, it's just little things you don't like. They're like unspoken heroes. You know what I mean? It's mental. But no, she's flying. Like we never really had any real issues along the way, thankfully. Like she was a preemie, but it was nice, smooth sailing pretty much all the way through the NICU. Maybe a couple of things here and there, but nothing drastic. And she's an absolute lunatic now.
Well, the apple doesn't fall far.
My firstborn, as I've discussed this with Robbie and Claire before, like my firstborn was not as preemie as Maisie, but he was 40 days in NICU to begin with as well. And I tell you what, there's something about that. My firstborn's a lunatic as well. There's something in it, Robbie. There's something in it.
Oh, stop.
I just think to see them happy and healthy now, though.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what? I completely understand as a first time parent steaming in, as you say, you have no idea what you're doing.
No.
You have no idea that stuff even exists before you need it. You really need it. So after it all happens yesterday, you now famously said, I don't even know where to go. Do you remember any of the post race, or is it just an absolute blur?
It's just a blur, to be honest. It's
Mm.
I can't even like fathom it. It's like you're just getting herded around, you know. Like there's a lady that was literally just bringing me around. Like, you got to talk to this guy now. Then you're doing this guy and that guy, and then him, and then don't speak to him for another hour, and then him over there. It's just mental.
That was
you know?
Maggie.
Yeah.
Maggie, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Maggie is brilliant. Maggie Payne.
Yeah.
Shout out Maggie Payne, legend.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You'll get to soak in, and hopefully you get to watch some of the stuff that you've done over the last couple of days. Obviously, you'll rewatch the replay a lot because it's anytime you go to speak at a function or, you know, you're on
That's-
telly, they'll,
Sorry
there.
to interrupt you. That's my friend Ben.
Hey, Ben.
It's absolutely
Cast.
in bits.
Yeah, he's cast, isn't he?
Ben,
Ben,
happy too.
How many's he had today? I mean, I don't think you've had too many, Robbie.
No, we haven't. We've only had one beer this morning, didn't we?
This morning?
Or you have to have a little morning glory, you know.
Well, you need to just
Settle
keep
the-
it going.
settle the
Otherwise,
dust. I get
the
it.
crash should be
Well, I have to
significant.
go and sing with Ronan Keaton, so I needed to get the confidence up, you know.
Tomorrow you got to ride at Ipswich. So how's that going to go?
Yeah. No, I have someone that's organising that all for me tomorrow. I think I'm pretty sure I'll be bringing the cup to Ipswich, and they're
Cool.
doing like photos and some media stuff, and we'll have like a security guard looking after the cup in the meeting.
I
in
mean,
the
you
meeting
were
and stuff.
already a rock star. Like, you were already a rock star, and now look at him.
Yeah. It's awesome to see.
gone to the next level.
I'm suspended for a week after tomorrow.
Oh,
and
perfect.
thank God for that.
Yeah. It's going to be a busy week regardless. Hey, I have got a bone to pick with you.
Oh, go on, hit me.
So you said it was all a blur post race, right? But after you had the presser and you got wheeled over to have a chat to us on Sky Racing,
Yeah.
we
I left you hanging.
yeah, mate.
I didn't see that film yet. Have you got a picture of it? Or a video?
I'll send it to you, man.
Mate,
it is.
it's as bad as it gets.
It's bad. There's a laptop technically like just in the way, but I swear if you didn't come back to me, if you didn't eventually shake my hand, I said to Em, I'd still be there with my hand out. Like I was so committed.
He wanted to shake BP's hand first. I mean, he's another former
I-
Melbourne Cup winning jockey.
I
You're
get
not.
it. I get it. And maybe Em thinks I went a touch early.
A
I'm
little.
happy to accept
Yeah.
that maybe
I'll
there's
send it to you. mate.
10% of the blame, but please, just erase it from your memory because I've already been sent it about 15 times.
Have ya?
Well, I hosted all Derby Day, all Cup Day. The only thing I get sent any of the
Yeah, of
coverage
course.
is the Melbourne Cup winner,
It's the
fresh
same
airing me.
anytime. Yeah. What's next, mate? What's on the bucket list? What do you want to do now? Because like it will change your life. You don't know in which way yet, but it will.
I want to go to
change your
bed. That's what I want to do.
life. Okay.
When do you get to do that?
Not till tonight, about 11 o'clock.
Oh shit!
Okay. Well, will you get to
I'm
take
sorry.
the cup back to
I-
Ireland and see your mum and stuff, or
My bucket list is I'd love to bring the cup back to Ireland.
yeah?
That's what I'd love to do now. You know, it might not be for a few months or whatever, but that'd be pretty cool. You know,
Yeah.
I'd have to bring it home to Ireland and put it on the mantelpiece in my in my home house where I grew up and where I left. You know, with me bags packed all them years ago to come over here.
Mm.
Hey, that'd be a great thing for Sky Racing and maybe even Channel 7 to
You
cover.
might get a free holiday out of that,
They
actually.
could send. Don't you think
We
they
need
could
a
send a
roving
Tell you what,
presenter or two?
if you guys fly me over in business class, you can come with me.
Okay, great. We'll sort it out.
Leave it with
Sort
me.
it out.
Hey, mate, we're
Righto.
so happy for you. Well done. It's
Thank
just an
you.
immense achievement. It'll change your life, but also all the hard work that's led up to this point in time has now paid off to a degree that I don't think any jockey can ever imagine it would. Like, you can
No.
always dream about winning a Melbourne Cup, but very few are able to achieve it. So, congrats.
Thanks very much.
And please get some medical attention to Ben.
And
Benny,
yourself.
all right?
Oh,
Why?
dear. Oh, he looks
He's,
real
he's
bad.
lame all four.
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
Thanks, boys. I'll see you.
See you, mate.
Ciao,
Well done.
Robbie.
Bye.
Robbie Dolan there, Melbourne Cup winning jockey, and we'll make sure that this gets up to the Sunshine State for him to put on his walls.
Mate, it's awesome. I love it. And I love him. He's great.
He's such an unusual and unique character in racing, but we love him because of just the swagger and the musicality of him,
Yeah.
the ability to ride. There's so many elements to him as a human being, and his star is only going to shine brighter in the future, and he's got so much more ahead of him.
Yeah, well, the one thing I guess we didn't touch on with him because we have previously is the fact that he moved his life up to Queensland, wanted to continue the dream up there. Some were thinking, oh, is he going to park the jockey idea and pursue the singing? But really, he's got some great confidence up there in Queensland. He's got good support. He shows how strong that Sydney jockey room is and also the depth of it. If you get the opportunities, so many of them are good enough to win big races. They're just not on the best horses. And while I didn't have it pegged as one of the best horses, I think you'll happily put your hand up and say the same. Most experts, we're all wrong.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Well done.
Yeah.
Amazing effort from the team. Sheila Laxon and John Simons, and then Robbie as well. So
Sheila's unbeaten in Melbourne Cup.
I know, 2 from 2. That's
So
an
is he.
extraordinary stat. So is he.
Yeah. And, by tomorrow, it was Sheila, who, 2-time Melbourne Cup winner.
Yeah.
She has more Melbourne Cups than Gay Waterhouse,
Yeah.
Chris Waller,
Yep.
Kieran Maher.
Yep.
Come on. How good's that?
Yep. Legendary
Awesome.
trainer.
Yeah.
Yep. First female to win it, and now only few in the modern age, Gay, and she's back
Yeah.
at it now.
With one of the most Australian names ever.
Let's get into Saturday. When these fields dropped Wednesday, my goodness gracious me, this is an elite day at Flemington. Kudos and hats off where it's deserved. When they changed this day from Emirates Stakes Day back in the day to Champions Day, it's taken a couple of years, but they have been rewarded this year with elite fields in the sprint over the 1200, the Champions Mile over the 1600, and then the Champions Stakes over the 2000. Like, best horses in the country are here on Saturday.
Well, I reckon we paid the price for it, Derby Day. We paid the price for it, Cup Day. Cup Day beyond the Cup was a touch on the grim side for racing quality. Love a few of the things. I love the Greys race and
2-year-old race.
I love the results. Yeah,
Yep.
I love the 2-year-old race. Jeez, how about Hayes in the first race? Bam, bam, bam with the trifecta. But on Saturday, Derby Day, I still think they're missing an element there of winning qualification through the Melbourne Cup, and I feel as though they should change that. But the beauty of it and the payoff is that now we have Champions Day, and you're right. I hope that it's a trend, but there are some horses that I thought would be tipped out that are heading there, and we've got every big name going.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Let's start with the sprint. Just a few names to throw in the mix. So at the moment, Bella Nipotina favourite at $4.20. Giga Kick not far behind at $4.50. Sunshine in Paris obviously comes out of the Everest as well. Overpass was brilliant in the Sydney Stakes, clocking a faster time than many in the Everest.
Head down the bottom.
Bellatrix Star.
Gun.
Yeah.
Such a gun.
Yeah, so she was super in the Coolmore, so she's on the quick backup. Right to Party is a Flemington 6 furlong specialist, straight 6 specialist. Lady Laguna also good in the Sydney Stakes. Like this is and Barraquil, who at Moonee Valley just proved to everyone like he's a star on the rise. This is a great field.
Yeah, I mean Bella's just been fantastic. I didn't think there was much between her and say a Sunshine in Paris, but just that positional speed she's been able to demonstrate has tipped things in her favour, and she's just proven superior. What is she now? Number 2? She's number 2 on the prize money list.
Yeah, she's over
All
$20
time?
million. Yeah, just behind Winks.
So it's time we start to appreciate her for what she is. That said, even though she had a wide trip, Giga Kick wasn't far off her in an Everest. Okay? We know the Giga Kick has been to loves and is from Victoria. Flemington, zero drama whatsoever. Bellatrix Star is airborne. And then, as you said, we've got the horse that probably should have been in the Everest and wasn't, who is one of the few leaders in the race. Does he regress second up?
I think he is best kept fresh. That's my only concern. And that was well documented going into the Everest, that fresh is best for him. So, yes, I do have concerns about only having, the 3 weeks in between runs, which seems long, but for him, I think longer is probably more ideal. The really interesting runner down the bottom there is also Private Life, who's the winner of the Caulfield Guineas, drops down from the 1,600 to the 1,200. Pretty unusual thing to try and do, and had the option of going against the 3-year-olds in the Coolmore on Saturday, but they've opted for this. Like, this is what they've gone for in the end.
I don't want to talk down any horse in the race,
No.
but that wouldn't be the form line I'd be looking at.
Sunshine in Paris, I love. You know, I've been with her this whole entire preparation. I love that turn of speed she exhibits at the end of her races, but you're so right. I know she needs to get back up, run on, but every start this prep, it's been get back too far and run on, and it's almost mathematically impossible to make up that ground when you've got a horse like Bella Nipotina so close to the speed and getting all favours out in front. Like, she's got the pick of when to go. She had the right bunnies last weekend and now she's on the quick backup. That's my only concern. I'd love her to be able to position just slightly closer.
Yeah.
Not too far close, but just slightly closer.
We get to that weird time of the carnival too where they start to venture to the outside and they split when they're heading down the straight, and strange things happen. So, yeah, we'll look at it in more depth and obviously talk about it on the day as part of the coverage. But Bella's the headline act now, and you only had to see pictures from Flemington of fans watching that sprint, which, you know, on a day where you could almost forget it was even on,
Yeah.
they were huddled around all cheering for Bella.
She's a star.
All cheering for Bella.
Yeah. Unbelievable horse she is.
The mile?
Yeah, the mile is fascinating on a number of fronts, but the most fascinating is that Pride of Jenny has a new jockey. So as of Wednesday morning, we got notified that Declan Bates was off and Ben Melham is taking the ride after her somewhat disappointing performance in the Cox Plate 2 weeks ago. Kieran, I don't believe, has spoken about it yet, but owner has, saying that they discussed that they felt that they might need a change of jockey, that she ran too fast in the first mile of the Cox Plate, breaking Amelia's Jules record. And, yeah, they were looking for a change, even though Declan's done, quite simply, a sensational job on board her in the last year or so.
For a guy with a fantastic backstory, Tony's turned the public against him, rightly or wrongly. Now, when I say of the story, everyone knows the background behind all the horses being named Jenny and the terrible tragedy that they had as a family. But we also know about the support that he gave for Dean Holland's family. He was so generous when that terrible fall took place and he lost his life. He had a young family and he had such a pivotal role in looking after him. So I think it is a touch unfair that people play the man rather than, arguing each thing on its face value. So we'll do that instead if that's sweet with you. So in terms of what he's managed to achieve, Declan, they've won an Empire Rose at Group 1, a Cantala, an All-Star Mile, a Queen Elizabeth and a Group 2 Fian. So, what you could argue, what more can you do? You get one wrong in a Cox Plate when, according to the owner, it was an afterthought and maybe she wasn't at her best.
It was on the quick backup, remember, as well.
I think that's very harsh. That said, Tony probably should have had a rethink when he tried to introduce a media ban for his trainers and jockeys, remember? He probably should have had a rethink when he went into the stewards and alleged improper riding against Hippo. He probably should have had a rethink when he named a radio host the King Flog of Racing and King of the Sub-50 IQ Twitter cesspool. But it is his prerogative to choose who rides his horse.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, this will take a bit. And you already know what I'm going through. First 2 starts, Ethan Brown. This is Jenny. So Jenny's had 34 career starts. First 2 starts, Ethan Brown. Starts 3 and 4, Jamie Carr. 2 wins. Start 5, Noel Callow. Start 6, Bo Merton. Start 7 and 8, John McNeil. Start 9, Declan Bates. Start 10, Daniel Moore. Start 11, Declan Bates. Start 12 to 14, Zach Spain. Start 15, Jamie Carr. 16, Daniel Moore. 17, Blake Shin. 18 and 19, Robbie Dolan. Start 20, Regan Bayliss. 21, Declan Bates. 22, Craig Newitt. 23 to 34, Declan Bates. 12 jockeys in her career, 13 now with Ben Melham, 12 in her first 22 starts. Now, does that say to you, it says to me 2 things. 1, Tony's very impatient. 2, jockeys drop off horses as quickly as horses and owners drop off jockeys. It's the game. So you know what? He's been so professional about it, Declan. He's taken it on the chin. He's released a statement. He said, it's not a drama. I look forward to associating with the Otterbury family in the future with their horses. He's taken it on the chin. So, you know what? The rest of you do the same thing. It's Tony's prerogative.
It is.
You know what? He should thank his lucky stars he was on for 11 because everyone else got the flick after 1 or 2. That is
Yeah, it's a long list, isn't it?
That's a long list.
Yeah.
We compared it, on the car ride here to a few. Like Mr. B was 4
Yeah.
in 39 career starts.
Fango was 8, I think.
Yeah, in a touch fewer starts, yeah.
I think Ben is riding as good as ever. He doesn't get as many opportunities, partially because of weight, but partially because of injury. Like, he's a bit busted over the last few years. His hips, he's had surgery and stuff like that. But, I double on Cup Day, and it would have come up earlier than that. But he's riding really well. And he has been riding a lot for Godolphin, as he has for a number of years. Like Tom Kitten in the Golden Eagle, arguably should have won it as well.
Yeah.
Like, he is flying at the moment. So if there was a jockey to put on who doesn't have a ride in that race, I think he's a good choice. I think he's a really good choice if they wanted to mix it up. Again, it's their prerogative. It's not for me to comment on, but in terms of, that's their choice. But yeah, I think he is a good choice. The other ones, though, there are 2 more that I wanted to make note of. So Steffi Magnetica on the quick backup after that woeful 5th against 2nd protest in the Golden Eagle.
She should have won.
Zach Lloyd stays in Sydney and Chad Schofield rides on the weekend. So is that a design jockey change too?
Yeah, not sure.
And then broadsiding due to the fact that another Will's in the race, but no declared jock at the moment. I'm guessing Jamie's going to ride another Will. And J-Mac can't ride 52 kilos. Michael D gets the opportunity on broadsiding. So they're fascinating for me too.
Twists and roundabouts of racing. You know what, though? It's funny how everyone goes, oh, this is unforgivable, Tony, this and that, and he should have kept Declan on, and what a fantastic story. Well, nobody complained about the first few. And conversely, everyone's saying Chris Waller and the team pulled the wrong rein by having Jow ride Buckaroo as opposed to James McDonald when he was available, saying you should put James on. Well, hang on. So you're pro-flicking one jock, but you're anti-flicking another.
100%.
I understand the romance, but it's racing.
That field, though, so Mr. Brightside and Pride of Jenny, we get another great clash. Antino, he was, the ride on board Antino, we saw that at Caulfield that day. So Mark Zahra rides because Blake is suspended.
Yeah.
But the others Fangirl Amelia's dual with the blinkers on. She's on the quick backup too. She was sensational last weekend. Steffi Magnetica and broadsiding. That's a field. That's a real field.
That's awesome. So you have a look at the Champion Stakes and you've got a short price favourite in Via. Whenever there's a really short price favourite around the $1.65, and let's face it, if the Cox Plate Via rocks up,
they're done and done.
She walks in. I still find that staggering, but I like to think there are no asterisks. There are no, what about this? For example, no first starters or no horses. Even things like Blinker's first time, first up, no trial, like things like that.
What are you thinking
me.
about without a
tick
fight?
all the boxes. Without a fight is worrying me. Worrying me witless. And you might be able to offer me something.
They are hoping that the Caulfield Cup and Melbourne Cup winning horse of last year, who's been off the scene for a whole year due to injury, will be hitting the line stylishly, hoping for a nice top 4 finish.
Top 4. Okay.
If he does that, he'll be heading over to Hong Kong.
Right.
For the carnival over there. So he's
they
about
must
15
have
bucks.
good confidence that he's returned well and fit and happy.
I think there was one trial there, they were a bit like, ho-hum. But then he galloped at Mornington on the weekend, and from reports from Mark Zahra, he felt great.
Okay.
So yes, I can understand that being a little concern of yours.
Well, you don't have a horse off that kind of layoff that you then eye off international races with if you don't think.
Correct. They've taken the time. It's the same as Giga Kick. They just took the time.
Yeah.
He's not as big a heavy set horse as Giga Kick. Obviously, he gets over a trip. He carries less condition. So, he could put in a good first up performance. He's done that before in his career. The 7 first up runs for a win and 4 placings. So he's capable of it. But it's just whether he's fit enough to do it first up. But at Via Sistine, $1.65, will she firm or will she drift?
I think the whole country will end up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She might jump like $1.30.
Yeah. So it's hard because you go the run or two before the Cox Plate and suddenly you've got horses like, a Tissue loomed into the race and popped. And, we've seen Antino run so well, Mr. B run okay since. Like, if that was the race, well, I could entertain maybe in a Tissue. But again, if it's Cox Plate Via, then it's race over. It's a matter of how far. In Sydney, so we've got Golden Gift. Golden Gift, I thought it might be a touch on the poxy side a year or two ago. I quite like a couple of them. North England was one I was really keen on. Ledden just popped on debut. Tupacara's that horse we were waiting to see
Annabelle
back.
and Robs, yeah.
Hit the line really well and directly after the race when everyone said, "Oh, that was good. Where are you going?" They were bang, Golden Gift.
Yeah. It's a hard race to get around because there's so many first starters in the race. Carrion Dreams one I could entertain. Pre-race earmuffs going up on, even though she won first up and she was really, really good in all of her trials. She's obviously a hot kind of filly. Yeah. So I don't mind that as it's a very simple gear change, but don't mind that as well. And then Godolphin obviously have confidence in Gelga or Gelge.
Yeah.
But I think he shocked them a little bit first up.
Oh, right.
Yeah. They were definitely keen on comedy.
With how forward he...
how good he was. So, tough race, that one. The Hot Danish over the 1,400 metres for the fillies and the mares, Group 2.
Draw a gate, Magic Time.
Oh, my Lord.
Just draw a gate.
So, she was super in the invitation, but you're right, she drew gate 9 on that occasion, and here she's in 10. So, that's of no help to her. I do look at her and go, I reckon she's better on, rain-affected ground. She can win on a good track, but if we got 40 mils of rain in Sydney, I'd be chips all in.
I think she'll win that.
You think?
Yeah.
Claire was pretty good last start.
I don't think she's not good on good or soft. I just think when others regress, she stays at her best on a wet track, so it kind of looks that way. She's run some bottlers on top of the ground. I just find that in some really good races and races I think she's capable of winning, they've either mapped terribly due to speed and where it's drawn, or they keep drawing wide. But I still think that she can win despite the shit.
You know how
gate.
you're just saying the regress? Can I note something here? Alentia.
Mm.
First up, brilliant Rose Hill Gardens, 1,200 metres in the Nivis, and we all went, ooh, here we go. Group 1 winner in the making. Second up, Syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay in the invitation. Okay. Drifted big in the market. Drifted out to $7.50 in the end. I think like a day before she was in the threes.
Mm.
Third up, back to Rose Hill, staying at the 1,400. Draws a nice gate.
Weaker race?
Partially, yes.
Mm.
There's something there that I go, we've seen that story before this carnival quite a number of times.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And yet still don't learn our lesson. Hey, 5 Diamonds, Territory Express, attrition. They might wake up to attrition now in Sydney, but I can't help but think if there is that bit of speed, Territory Express, that was a ripper.
Yeah, really, really good. I'd like to see Yellow Brick do something in Sydney. Docklands is the interesting one because Harry Eustace has accepted with him both in the 5 Diamonds but also in the 2,000 metre race at Flemington. If he goes up to Rose Hill, I reckon he can win that. Like, I think that's the choice.
Yeah.
Dual nommed, and it's a bigger field. And I heard Harry speak about this today, that concerns him because the horse has more possibility of finding trouble in the run. But that's a weaker race than that 2,000 metre race where you got Via Sistina just going to be jumping around at
I know
silly
who
odds.
I'd be avoiding. I know who
Correct.
I'd be avoiding.
I know a Star is another one who interests me because another key gear change for this guy, barrier blanket first time. I know that sounds silly, but a last start winner, they're just trying to tinker with little things to get 1%ers.
Were they slow? They weren't sluggishly away, or
Just
they
calming down
They
because
led
I
on
think
their
he's,
ear, didn't they?
I think he's just one of those horses who likes to do things his way. So, and if he's more riled up, then he gets keen. But if he's calm and, all just relaxed in.
But off
the
that,
gates.
off that replay, if you're watching I Know a Star, who had everything its own way, and now you're in a race with higher tempo, surely if Territory Express has clear running, it goes straight past.
The other one is Relentless Voyager, who we were meant to see last Saturday but was scratched on vet's advice. This is the horse that was meant to run in the Cup but didn't pass the Victorian vet's standards. So we'll have his first Australian start for Kieran Ma on Saturday. That's a big watch.
I know this will never happen, but I think this is why we need a national body that oversees everything and implements the same rules, because I don't want to forecast anything, but can you imagine?
I don't.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, can't have it. Yep. It'd be just catastrophic.
Catastrophic.
And the relationship breakdown between states would be even worse than it currently is. I mean, I feel like we've mended things the last little while, if we're being honest.
But if we keep going with this model, it will eventually happen.
Yeah.
Even if it's not for the reason they're scratched, it wouldn't even matter if it was. Oh, anyway, let's pray it doesn't.
All right, last step.
Last step.
Did you have
it's been
fun?
fun, Em. Yep, I always have fun with you.
Yeah, have a great time with you. I'm really looking forward to both cards, but particularly Flemington, because those 3 races are just the elite of the elite, and we end on a real high note for Champions Day at Flemington. Do you have I'll throw one at you. Do you have like one highlight from the spring that was? One particular horse or jockey moment or trainer performance that you went, oh, that was just unreal. I love that so much.
Bar Robbie, which is right up there.
Yeah.
And it felt like suspense, but between having a young filly scratched who was a walk-up Group 1 winner, then losing on Fangirl, then losing on Broadsiding, and sitting on 99, having all the 7 team having had their graphics there, and Bruce ready to go celebrating triple figures, only to do it in a Cox Plate, walk in by 8, salute, cop a $2,000 fine, and give it one of these. That is genuinely
the story for the ages.
Story of the ages.
Yeah, I agree with you there. No, that's it.
Yeah.
I think that was a build up there to that milestone for, really a month or 5 weeks because it was upon us, and he has the ability to win 2 Group 1s in a day. We saw it Saturday. So it could have come around really quickly, or there was a bit of time biding having to happen as well. So, yeah, no, that's the story because we witnessed history that day.
Yeah, I know that in terms of the best ride, I know it won't get the same plaudits, but Jamie's ride in the Derby from 13 to sit 1-1 and put that away it looks better when they weave a passage. It's much better TV. The aerial shots, elite.
It's cool.
Yeah, but in terms of the ability, there's just that innate ability to put your horse in the best position to capitalise on it. The Gold Rush Guru ride was a ripper. But it's been a spring full of highlights. We've got more still to come.
Yep.
I wish that we could do it every week, and I guess the plea is that they allow us to do it in the autumn. But
yeah,
until then,
maybe we'll try and do a little Magic Minions one.
Oh, sneak
think?
one in there.
You wanna
Do
try?
we get a trip?
I'll be up there.
Okay.
You know I will. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for supporting us doing this podcast each and every week. We absolutely love doing it. We love talking racing. And, we love diving into it each and every week. And we will be back.
We will. And thank you to all our guests.
Yeah, for sure as well. We'll catch you next time on So We Think.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.